Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're continuing this trend of picking up puzzles that really should have appeared on the channel when they were first released, but have just come to our attention recently, or we've had another look at them because we've been encouraged to do that. Now this puzzle, we had no knowledge of. It's called 7 Loop, and it's by a constructor called Innocuous, and that's not a name I know. But the rules to this are just absolutely brilliant. Effectively, the idea is we've got to draw a loop in the grid, and once we've drawn the loop, adjacent cells on the loop must always sum to 7. It sounds absolutely magical. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, and amongst the people to recommend it to us is none other than Demono, so we know it's going to be good, basically. And I'll have a go at it and read you the rules properly in a moment or two. I've not got many announcements today. The main one is tomorrow is the deadline for July's monthly reward. So make sure, if you're just finishing it off, make sure you get your answers to us toot sweet so that you can be in with a chance of winning the prize. Other than that, nothing else to tell you. Let's just get on with the puzzle, and we can kick straight into it. So the rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits sum to the small clue in the corner of the cage. So those 3 cells sum to 8, those to 17, etc. Doesn't look like we've got any cages that go outside their own box, so we don't need a rule about no digits repeating in cages today. Then we've got to draw a single closed loop of cells that moves from cell to cell orthogonally and passes through the 8 outer boxes of the grid, and may or may not enter the central 3x3 box. We don't know whether the loop goes into this 3x3, but we do know it must visit all the others. The loop may not touch itself orthogonally. Let's just deal with the word orthogonally, which some people get confused by. If we were to claim that was the loop, for example, which obviously it couldn't be because it doesn't visit these boxes on the right, this is not allowed because or is it actually? Hang on. No, this is allowed. Shows how well I understood the puzzle. No, the loop may not touch itself orthogonally. So orthogonally means connected by an edge. So this is a loop that's valid. Let's instead draw that loop. That is not a loop because these 2 cells only touch at a point. They don't meet orthogonally. But what we're not allowed to do here is something like, let's get this. If we went here and then we went down and then we went across, you can see that as the loop turns here, these 2 cells connect orthogonally, and that's not allowed. The loop has sort of touched itself in an orthogonal position, and we mustn't have that situation arising in this grid. Now, once we've drawn this loop, in fact, let's have a go at drawing a loop. Let's draw a really simple loop. Let's draw that loop. So it's got, hang on, that's got 7s on it, which I know is going to fail. Let's avoid the 7s. Let's imagine this is the loop. It then says all cells on the loop can be grouped into adjacent pairs. How should we do this? Maybe we could do this using the pen tool. So I'm just going to draw lines through adjacent pairs of digits along the loop. We're going to find out whether the loop is the... Okay, so that's possible. And then the digits on each pair sum to 7. So these 2 cells would sum to 7, these would sum to 7, etc., etc. It's a quite remarkable idea, this. And that's all the rules. I don't think there are any others. I'm trying to scroll down the instructions, but it's not allowing me to do so, so that feels like it's correct. Let's restart the puzzle. Do have a go at this one. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. There's a 24 cage there. In fact, look. Well, there's a 24 cage, which must be the digits 7, 8, and 9. It's the only way of getting to 24 in 3 different Sudoku numbers. But there's a 7 here, so actually I'm going to immediately get a digit, which is incredibly strange in these puzzles that we do nowadays. There's a 1, 2, 3 cage there in the 6. I can pencil mark a 1 into one of those 3 positions. And that's because a 3-cell 8 cage must contain a 1. And if we now take a quick look at column 9, you can see we can't put 1 into any of those 6 cells anymore, because there's a 1 in the 8 cage there, so those 3 can't have 1. And there's a 1 in the 6 cage. 6 in 2 cells could be 1, 5 or 2, 4. Oh dear, now we're going to run out of road, aren't we? Okay, so we've now got to do loopage. Right, so we can immediately start with box 1, I think, because we're told the loop definitely visits box 1, but I mean, to state the obvious, 7s, 8s and 9s can't be on this loop, because we're making pairs of digits along the loop add up to 7. So if we put 7 on the loop, we'd have to put 0 on the loop in its pair, and 0 is not a valid Sudoku number. So these cells are off the loop, so we've got to have a colour for that, don't we? Let's use black maybe. I'm never sure whether the black and the blue is very see-throughable. What about grey? Grey is better. We can definitely see through the grey. Right, so the loop is definitely going to have to get into box 1. It's got to come through here. And because it's a loop, it can't then stop, so it's got to get out again. So I think we immediately, in fact, look, what I should do is the 7s are all off the loop. Look, I'm getting lots of loop here. Right, so the loop's going to take one of those 2 cells only. I don't know if we know which one. And 7 is in one of those squares. So if this was 7, that would stop the loop, and the loop would have to turn in box 4. Right, sorry, I've now totally, from thinking I was doing quite well for a moment, I'm suddenly not at all. Can we do the same trick in box 7, I'm wondering? I mean, we know the loop can't sort of come in and then get out of the same area. It can't loop like that because the loop would touch itself. So the loop passes through box 7. It passes underneath this 7 clue somehow. But I don't know if we know how it does that. Let me just mull this over for a second or two. Or perhaps 3. I don't quite know what to do at the moment, actually. Right, so we've got to do something else. What's that something else going to be? You see, I was about to do something wrong there. I was about to try and say that you couldn't take both of these cells on the loop, because I was thinking these 2 cells add up to 6, and 6 is not equal to 7, but that's total nonsense, isn't it? Because what we could have is these 2 both being on the loop, but those 2 adding up to 7, and then this domino, wherever that goes, adding up to 7. Alright, where does that digit go in box 2 by Sudoku? We know it's not in the green, is it? Because the green is the loop, and the loop has adjacent pairs that add up to 7. So that square goes there, and that's rather good, because that's not a visitable cell by the loop. So the loop does go into the top of the 6 cage, but the logic I just explained means we don't know whether or not it then dips down or not. We've got... Right, I've had a sensible thought at last. Well done, brain. How many digits are there that can be involved in pairs that add up to 7? Well, there's 1 and 6, 2 and 5, and 3 and 4, so there are 6. So I think if the corner's a loop now, I've got too much loop in row 1. I've got 7 loop cells. and that's not going to work. So that cell is definitely not loop. Yes, that it's a very minor deduction. Oh my goodness me, I'm so sorry. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, sorry. Where are 7, 8 and 9 in this box? And the answer is I haven't got a clue, but they're definitely not in the green cells. So they're down here somewhere, all three of them. We've got two of them pinpointed, but the other one's down there. So where do you put 7, 8 and 9 in row 1? They've got to be there. Oh, bobbins. That's been available for probably forever. So none of these cells could ever have been in the loop. So the loop does... Right, so that deals with the earlier point, which I didn't even need to deal with. It would have just been forced by this 7, 8, 9 triple. That is not a 1 anymore, is it? Because it's a 7, 8 or a 9. That's not a 7 by the power of Doku. Oh, here's a thought, though. Right, okay. Well, those two cells don't add up to 7, so they are not in a domino that adds up to 7. So the loop, when we were sort of deciding how the loop split up into pairs that make up 7, it's got to split up like this. I tell you what we will do. We'll do x's along the... right, well, so what's going on here? This cell is going to join one of these two, but we don't know which one. Right, so the second, so those, right, so this, that's a domino here. It's a bit hard to do this because I don't know where the cell that joins up with this one is in this box. But this is definitely a domino that adds up to 7. And that, oh, hang on, no, that's not a domino. I'm getting confused now. I'm starting to view the x's a bit like crop keys, which is not a good idea. Maybe I should do this differently, actually. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it differently. Because I'm just thinking I could try and keep track of... I know that that's a domino. And I know that this is a different... So if this was 1, 6, this could be 2, 5 or 3, 4. It couldn't be a repeat of the red domino. So this cell, let's make this a blue cell for a moment. Because that cannot be green and it cannot be red. Right, so this domino here is red. Because we said that this was a domino. And it can't be the blue domino, because there's going to be a blue pair either here or here. And it can't be green, because that would rule out this cell from being green. So the only thing left is red. Okay. So now can't I do Sudoku on this square? Because that square, that digit has to find a home in box 1. So imagine this was a 4. Well, it can't go in its own row, and it's not a red digit, and it's not a 7, 8 or a 9, so it goes there. That and that are the same digit. I'm getting very, very bogged down in pencil marking strange things here. But this is good, because now, what does this pair up with? Well, it doesn't pair up with a green digit, so that pairs up with a blue digit that must sit in the corner, and that's going to allow me to do this, and this, and this. Well, that was exciting. Now, what's this colour then? Well, I was about to say it can't be green, but it could be green if it turns this way. Sorry, I'm stuck again. Right, what can we do now? I don't know. Sorry, I've got I've got totally hit the brick wall again. Okay. I've got a high digit in a 13 cage, so these two cells have got to be quite low. They can't be greater than 4, either of them, because if we did try and put 5 into one of them, we'd have 5 plus 8 plus 0 would have to be in the other squares. So that's not 1, is it? Because we know that the 1 is in this domino. And whether this 8 cage is 134 or 125, it shares a digit with this. It shares a second digit. It doesn't only share the 1 with this 6 cage, it shares another digit as well. So those squares must, right, these can't include 4. And this is 1, 2 or 3, because whatever the low digit is that's not 1 that's in the 8 cage, which is a 2 or a 3, it pairs up here and it must go into this domino. Now, what does that do? I haven't got a clue. Come on. Oh, come on, brain. Brain is just being recalcitrant today. How do we do this then? Alright, here's a strange thought. How does the loop cross this barrier? Yeah, that's a good thought. Okay, how does it cross this barrier? And in particular, does it cross it in column 1? And I think the answer to that is no. And that's because if it did cross there, neither of these could be a 7 now, so this would be the 7. But because this is one of these loops that's not allowed to touch itself orthogonally, let's actually draw this in. The loop would have to do this, and once it does that at a corner, you can never take this cell. So the loop always has to take at least 3 cells along the perimeter when it does this, but it can't take 3 cells because there would be 7 green cells in column 1, so that doesn't work. And that means this boundary is impossible to be used by the loop, which means this is used by the loop. That is gorgeous. Right, here's the corollary of that, which is that the loop, having come down here, can never go into column 1 again, can it? Because if it does go into column 1, it's going to take 3 cells in column 1 before it's allowed to turn, and that's going to take its complement to 7 in the column again, which it can't have. So that is now, I think, out of bounds for the loop. That cannot be loop, which means the loop comes here. In fact, the whole column is out of bounds. If it came here, it would have to turn, and that would remove the ability of the 7 to exist in this column. So, but we don't know, do we, whether, I don't think we know anyway, whether the loop comes here and then turns, or whether the loop goes there and drops 1. We've only got 4 green cells in column 2 at the moment. Okay, and can we work out the domino edge here? Boom, boom. This is a domino, isn't it? I think by the sort of law of dominoes. There isn't a law of dominoes, I've just made that up. But what I'm thinking is, as we move along the loop, whether this goes here or here, you know, it's sort of the next domino start is on the same bishop's colour as this square. So this is a potential starting domino, or this is a starting domino, which means this is a second cell along a domino, which means this is, so this is not blue, is it? So this is red or green. but I don't think we've got a good way of knowing which of those... Oh, no, we do. We do. I do know what this is. This is red. That's huge. Right. Because remember, what colour is this square? This square's a green digit, because it's that digit. So this can't be a green domino. It can't be a blue domino, because this cell would be impossible. So this is a red domino, and now there's two red cells in that string of digits. I don't really know what to do with that knowledge, but it's true. Okay. What's that digit? I think that has to be an 8 or a 9 by Sudoku, because the loop here has to it's got to get into this column, so it's going to take this cell or both, and therefore it prevents whichever cell it takes from being an 8 or a 9. So where do I put the 8s and the 9s in the column? I've got to put in 2. So they can't go up here. They could go in a maximum of one of these cells. So this is definitely an 8 or a 9, which means it's off the loop, which means the loop goes there. But also, this can't drop down here now. This is an impossible crossing for the loop. The loop can't do that. So hang on, how do I show that? Let's go to... let's do that. So this is that's not how the loop moves. So the loop either drops here and goes in here, which would mean this was a green pair on the loop. No, that doesn't work. Right, actually the way to see this is to realise this cannot be a loop domino. For the same reason I worked out that's a red domino. If this is a domino on the loop, what colour is it? It can't be red, it can't be blue, and we know that's a green, so it can't be green, so it's impossible. So that's not on the loop. This cell is not allowed to be on the loop, so that's off. And now we're getting into trouble, aren't we? Because now the loop's... I'm slightly worried about this, because all of a sudden the loop is wending its way over this way. It could drop down here, possibly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Well, this is the other of 8 and 9 that exists in column 2. Oh. So this is a 7, 8, 9 triple, isn't it? These cells can't be... Anything that's green cannot be 7, 8, 9, and those can't be 7, 8, 9. So this is a 7, 8, 9 triple. Sorry, that's probably been obvious for ages. Okay, so there's an 8, 9 in one of those 3 cells that sort of completes the triple for column 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. That's an interesting thought. Right, that's not on the loop. Yeah. If this was on the loop, we'd have to do... That has to be a corner because the loop is continuous. And now we can't turn here, so the loop would close. And this would be a little tiny loop. And that loop would not be achievable. So that cell is grey. I don't think it's quite the same if we drop down there, although that's going to make it... alright, that's not loop either. Oh, that's my phone buzzing, that's fine. If this was loop, we'd have to do this. And now, how do we get into box 3? We can't come here, or the loop would connect orthogonally with itself, and we can't come up there because we can never get out again. So this is not possible. Which means that cell turns grey. So this, right, we're getting quite interested in how the loop moves then. The loop could come here. Or it could go there. And that would be a domino that added up to 7. Just looking at the 6 there, that's not a sensible thing to look at. Oh, okay, so the loop goes there, of course. Maybe it just closes with sort of in an efficient way. Certainly that would use the digits 1 to 6, wouldn't it? This is a red digit, is it? Or is that not true? Could that be double red? No, this digit can't be red because this is a domino, and if that digit's red, that's going to be red, so that digit's not allowed to be red. So by Sudoku, these digits are both red, but this is bad. This is bad because I don't think I know. I mean, it's obviously possible this is green and is loop, but the loop could go here, and then those digits would be the same. So although I know these two digits are red, I don't think I know that the loop goes through this second one. So these two digits are either green or blue, and these two digits are either green or blue. And I think I'm getting myself into a pickle with my pencil marking here. A pickle with my pencil marking. There's going to be some tongue twisters related to cracking the cryptic. Alright, what else could we do here? Am I getting bogged down in thinking about things that are more easily fixed by looking somewhere else? I know this is a domino. I know this is a domino. I don't really know how to show that. Maybe I should have shaded these in colours rather than done the loop sort of segments. I don't know, sorry. How do we do this? Is there some sort of way that we can get a grip on? I've literally got no feel at all for where I should be looking here. We could I don't know where to look, sorry. If this is obvious, well done. I'm not at all... Oh, it is obvious. Oh, good, I've done it again, you know. I'm getting so obsessed with trying to build dominoes, I'm just not doing basic stuff. Oh, it's pretty though. It's a pretty thought. Right. Can you put 8 or 9 in that 12 cage? No. Because if you do, the two digits that are going to accompany an 8 or a 9 are too low. So if you put 8 in here, you've got to put 1 3 in, and both of these would be 2. If you put 9 in, you'd put 1 2 in, and both of those would be 3. So there's no 8 or 9 in the 12 cage, and if there's no 8 or 9 in the 12 cage, where's 8 and 9 in the row? Ah, it's beautiful. It's really easy, isn't it, once we see it? Right, that's not locking. Because this can't be loop, that corner cell can't be loop. So we get an 8-9 pair. So, right, so where does 7 go in this row? That's, oh, this is beautiful, actually. This is a beautiful idea. Right, so 7 in the row, it's not in those cells. You can see they're pencil marked. It's not in a green cell, so it's got to be in the 12 cage. But for the same reason we can't put 8 or 9 in the 12 cage, what we can't accompany the 7 with in this 12 cage is a 2-3 pair, because both of these would be 1. So this is a 1-4-7. It's a snooker maximum. That's not 7. Which means this is a 1 by Sudoku, which means that is not a 1. This is a 2-3 pair. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4. This digit, which is a red digit, is a 5 or a 6. And that digit cannot be a... this is sick. This digit can't be a 6-1 pair because that's the 1's going to clash. So that's got to be a 5. That's got to be a 2. And the red digits are 2s and 5s out of absolutely nowhere. That's a 4 or a 1, so it's not 2 or 5. And that digit's a 6 by Sudoku, so that's got to, bobbins. That's got to accompany a 1, but that could be a 1, so we still don't know whether it goes that way or that way. It's majestic. It's majestic setting this. In fact, there is a 1 in one of those 2 squares by Sudoku. Okay, what's that done? Come on. These 2 squares. No, we don't know. That can't be a 6. Oh, let's try and do some 1s, 3. This is 1, 3 or 4. Let's put that in, and that's 1, 3 or 4, whoops, and that's on a green domino, so that's either 6, 3 or 4. So that's that digit, isn't it? So that digit's 3, 4 or 6. So this digit, which we know is part of the, oh, hang on, I think I've broken the puzzle. No, it feels to me like this has to be a 3-4 domino now, but maybe I've just misunderstood that, because these are in a partnership together. No, I see. These don't have a special relationship, do they? No, okay, I think I'm just getting myself confused. This is a 1, 3 or a 4. If that's A, then that digit is there. Oh, that's fine, isn't it? My brain is sort of shouting at me that there's something obvious here involving the fact that I know this is A and this domino. But if that digit's A, it's 3 or 4, isn't it? Because it can't be 6. And then that digit would go there. But if this digit is not A goes there. And then that digit goes there. And then we know nothing about anything. Okay, maybe my brain is misleading me. What about... Oh, you can't... Oh, here's the thought. You can't put 4 there now. Because remember we said these maxed out at 5. Well, if I put 4 here, I have to put 1 there. And that's going to break that cell. So that's not 4. And that gives me a 1, 2, 3 triple. Right, so this is a 1, 2, 3 triple. That's a 7, 8, 9 triple. So this is a 4, 5, 6 triple in box 3. What? Oh no, we still can cross that boundary. That's so annoying. Right, so if this is 9, this is a 1-3 pair. If this is 8, this is a 2-3 pair. So there is a 3, definitely, in this domino. So that's not a 3. That A is not 3, so that's not 3. And if that's not 3, that's not 4. Oh, it's so close, isn't it? It's so close to being something. There's definitely a 1 in one of those two cells. Ah! Well, actually, to be honest, I think there probably could be a 1 in both of them. But obviously only one of them is going to be used for the loop, or the next cell of the loop. Okay, alright, so we've got to think again. What do we need to think about? We've got a 3 in one of these squares. With 1 or 2. But 3. I've still got to get something into this box somehow, haven't I? Is that meant to be telling me something profound? It probably is. I don't know. Okay. I've got a, oh, hang on. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this column now. Oh, that's right. Okay, look, I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple. So that cell in the 8 cage has got to be a 4 or a 5. So this is from 1, 2, and 3. Now I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this column. So that cell is not a low digit. Well, I'm just thinking about that cell now. I'm wondering whether I can actually... Alright, if this cell can't be low, how is that ever on the path? Because I'd noticed this 4, 5, 6 triple sort of being quite difficult. But now I think this cell is simply not possible, but that might be wrong. If that cell is on the path, it must be part of a domino. Oh. No, no, this still doesn't work. Right, okay. Alright, so let's try and put this on the path. And just let's envisage. This is on the path. So where is its counterpart? Now its counterpart has to be a 1, 2 or a 3. So it's not those digits. So its next cell is not those. And it's not here because this cell cannot be a 1, 2 or a 3 by Sudoku. So the only thing this can partner up with is this cell. So this has to be a 1, 2, 3 and these are in a domino. But now what's this one in? This can't be in a domino at all, because it would have to be in a domino with that, and now the loop is definitely looping back on itself, which doesn't work. So this cell is not capable of being green and is grey. And now the question that strikes me is, how do you get into box 3 at all with the loop? Well, given you've got to get into box 3, we've got to go through that little channel way, and we've got to come out through that little channel way. And now, we've done it. Now we've done it. Because that can't be a 4 and be in a domino with a 3 here. So that's got to be a 1 in a domino with a 6. So A is 4, which means that the green domino is a 4-3 domino. And the blue domino is a 1-6 domino. Oh, bother. Okay, the blue domino... Ah! No! That's a total disaster. A series of totally disastrous clicks. This is a 1-6 domino. I don't think we know the order. But let's bluify this domino. And we can probably work out what this has to be then. He says, and then realises he can't do it. Well, actually I can do it, because those two don't add up to 7, do they? So it must go down. So it's a down domino. And we can do some Sudoku-y tidying uppy things. This is this is definitely where the loop goes. And then it goes, so this is not on the loop. So the loop goes down here and then here. So this square here has got to be a 5 or a 6. Now, do we know whether this is 3, 4 or not? That square's not a 1, look. So the 1 in this box is now placed here, which means that's a 6. So now that the place for 6 in this box is here, which means this is a 1, that's a 4. That's it. There we go. So this can't join downwards and has to go out and join a 1 there. So this is green. This is off limits. This is a 3, 4 pair. So I've just noticed that's probably been available for ages. That's a 6. So that's a 6 and that's a 1. I want to know whether this goes this way. Okay, so we go down here. So this needs to find a friend. That's tricky-ish. Actually, that is tricky-ish. No, it depends. It depends how big that digit is. Actually, it may not be that tricky. Okay, so this is a 2, 3 pair. Ah, so if that's a 2, 3 pair, that's become a 5, and that's become a 2. I'm sure we know what this is. I just can't work it out. Those two have to add up to 7. Let's do some filling in of dominoes that we know. So this is a domino that we know the colour of. We know that that's a green domino. We know this is either 2, 5, which I bet you it is 2, 5. I bet you that's what this 13 cage is. Well, no, the 13 cage did do a lot of work apart from that, but it would disambiguate this 2, 5 pair as well. Right, okay, so... Oh. Whoa. Look at this column. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 and a 1. So the only low digit I could put into this column is a 6 that's not already hypothesized. So if this was a loop segment, it would have to be a 6, which it cannot be. So that is not capable of being, that's simply, it cannot be a loop digit. So that's a loop digit. So this is a valid domino. And then we could go here or here. Oh, look, yes, okay. So this is a domino. We don't know what colour it is. But if we then went here, this would be a domino, and this would be a 1, 6 domino, and that would be a 6. So that doesn't work. So we've got to go there, whereupon we can't go here because these won't add up to 7. So we have to go there. So this is a domino that adds up to 7, so it doesn't involve a 1. Now if we then went upwards, we'd have to then go here with a 6. Which actually looks very possible, doesn't it? Oh, although, hang on, how do we then get... No, there's something very badly wrong with this thought. In fact, I think we've got to be very careful already. How do I ever get into this box? These, or those two squares, would touch the loop if we ever visited these. We can never go to these squares now, or the loop would touch itself as it turned. So we've got to go into one of these 3. Now, yes, so if I go to that cell, I now cannot go in here because I need 3 cells to turn. So that's not going to be visitable. The same logic is there. That's going to turn this off, which we can't do in turn. So we have to come down here. But we don't now know whether we take this one. But now we can't get back up there with the loop. We can never go there with the loop. It's getting harder and harder actually to get into. Oh no, it's not. We can get into box 5 from the left hand side, so it's not hard at all. Right, so where are we now with our... So these are from... One of these is 2, 3, one of these is 4, 5. Let's just fill everything in. Let's see if we can do any eliminations, and of course we can't. There's definitely a 6 in one of these squares. 1s look like we've got a lot of them. Yeah, where's 1 in the middle box? There is the only place it can go. Where's 1 in the corner box? Only in the corner. So this square's known, that's a 3. Sorry, that's been available for ages. Are we going to get a 3 in the corner? No! No, we're not! That's a 2, 3 pair. That's the last opportunity. Oh, sorry. Oh dear. Alright. These 2 squares are an 8, 9 pair in box 6. So these are an 8, 9 pair. That's a 7. That's probably useful somehow, some way. Oh, I don't know now. One of these is a 7 and is therefore going to block the world, isn't it? What's going on in this column? Do we know? That's a low. Okay, these are both low. These are that's the 6 low digits. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this digit in the corner is 7, 8, or 9, and that's most certainly off limits. So, what's the betting on this digit being in? I think it's quite high, actually. That would cause that. And then that would be a 7. And then we could do either those or those to complete the sequence. Although, hang on, this digit is not a low digit, I've just noticed. It's not 1, 2, or 3, so that's got to be 4, 5, or 6. If it's 6, what's its partner? It's got to be a 1 in that position, which it can't be, so it's not 6. Yeah, that's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. So, actually, let me just check how the dominoes are flowing, because that might be... Yes, this is joining, because that's a domino and that's a domino. This is joining either to this cell or this cell in a domino. Well, if it had joined to this cell, it would need to be joining a 2 or a 3, and it can't be. So it must join downwards, and that's gorgeous, because that turns the loop. This now can't be a 7, because that can't be in a loop cell. So that's the 7. That's off bounds for the loop. Dum. This is a domino. Oh, so we need a 3 to... Oh, look. We need a 3 to accompany this, and it can't be there. So that's a 3. Whoa. And is the loop cell, which means the loop goes along the bottom of the grid, which means this is a 2, 5 pair, because it can't be a 1, 6 pair now. Oh, it's nearly telling me, it's nearly revealing all the secrets of the universe, this now. It's really close. Okay, so none of these can be looped now, or the loop would touch itself. It's getting really... We've almost got the loop. We just have to figure out if the loop closes with alacrity here. The instructions... 8 out of... and may or may not enter. So it's simply stipulated we have to visit the 8 outside boxes, but we don't yet know about the... Right, well the loop can't go here now, because it would go in and out, so those aren't loop. If this was on the loop, it would need to take a 6 from there, wouldn't it? So it would be the 1, 6 pair. And that would be on the loop. So this would be a 2, 5. That would be a 1, 6. Then the loop would come here. 2, 5, and this would have to be a 3, 4 pair, which might actually be very, very likely. Although, hang on. What are we filling these? No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work for a beautiful reason. If this is on the loop, let me just show you. If that's on the loop has to do this. And now, because it can't hit itself, these 3 cells are all in a 17 cage. And by domino logic, those add up to 7. So that would have to be a 10, and that doesn't work. So this is off the loop, this cell, which means these 2 are off the loop. So now we've only, if we come into this column, that looks tricky. No, it's impossible. Because this would be a 2 or a 5, and then the loop would turn, and this domino couldn't be a 2, 5, couldn't be a 3, 4, and couldn't be a 1, 6, and that won't work. So actually we do go down there, all of this is off the loop, and that's the loop. We've drawn the loop. All we've got to do now is figure out the rest of this nonsense. That's a 5 by maths, and that's a 2, so that's a 2 and that's a 5. Don't tell me that does nothing. It does nothing, does it? Rotten, naughty puzzle. That's a 5, that could be a 6 still. That's just Sudoku, that's all I'm doing there. 1s, 4s. Ooh, yes, there is a 4 in the 17 cage. So it's got 2 more digits in it that add up to 13 that are not 4, 9, or there would be 2 4s, but could be 5, 8, or could be 6, 7. No, there's no 7. There's no 7 in this cage because we've got 7s here. In fact, I've actually got, if we double click 7s, you can see there are 4 7s looking at this box, so we could actually place a 7 here. So this box, which has a 4 in it, also has a 5 and an 8 in it. So where does the 5 go? I think it's only got one place. It's got to be there. So this is a 4, 8 pair. So this is not 6. This is 4 and 8. Let's put that in and see if it helps with anything. Yes, that's now a 9. This is an 8. This is a 9. So now we know these digits. We've probably known them for a while, but 3, 6 and 8 is what the doctor ordered. That's not 8, that's not 3. And this being 5, that fixes this digit as a 4. Now before, I'm just going to check my dominoes. Yeah, that's a 3, because this is a domino together. So this square, no, that square's a 2, so that's a 5. Because that's a domino, so that's a 3, so that's a 2, so that's a 5, because that's a domino, that's a 3. So this is a 2, 5 domino, and there's a 5 there, so that's 5 and that's 2. That's 5 and that's 2. That's 2 by pencil marking. This is remarkable. It's remarkably clever. And no, I was about to say I've made a mistake, but no, I haven't yet, or at least I don't think I have. It's still going with some sort of aplomb. That's not 9. This column needs, this is a 3 or a 6. Well, it's not a 3, so that's a 3. So that's a 6. These 2 squares are, you've guessed it, 8 and 9, and we don't know the order, but that tells us that square's a 4. This column needs 7 and 8, so there's a 7, 8 pair here, and that square's a 6. Oh, sounds like there's police activity nearby. That square can't be 5, so that seems to push the 5. Oh, no, I've got the 5 in this box. That's a relief. This is 8, so that's 9. That's 8. This is 8. Oh, the maths of that would have given me that some time ago, but I've elided over all of the easy stuff. I seem to be, as usual, trying to do this in the most complicated way. 9, 8, 8, 6. Well, that suggests that's a 6, and that 4, and I need a 3 in this row, and that's a 4. Now, this might be correct, but I'm far from sure. I want to just accept that. I'm going to start drawing in my dominoes to check. So everything that's a 2, 5 domino gets a red line. Everything that's a 4, 3 domino gets a green line. And everything that's a 1, 6 domino gets a blue line, but we've done all those. So this could be right. Let's tick, click, tick. Yes. That's a brilliant puzzle. My goodness me, that's brilliant. What an original idea to think that that's possible to execute and then to do it with that sort of aplomb. This is what I find extraordinary. If someone gave you the task of creating this puzzle, you'd firstly think, nah, that's impossible. And then, even if you considered it might be doable, to do it with that sort of logical solve path where it's so entertaining and interesting and you never get quite stuck because there's always like new little things that you can avail yourselves of. It's really, really classy. Innocuous, take a bow. Loved that. And thank you for the recommendations. Very much appreciated. This is what allows us to showcase these absolute world-class puzzles. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and especially when they eulogize about Innocuous and people like that. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.